place on the Gulf Coast in solidarity with the people of Cuba. Demonstrators took to the streets in Tampa during rush hour, demanding help for Cuba from the United States. And there have been reports of mass arrests as Cuba's president blames U.S. trade sanctions for its problems. And just in today, the Cuban government confirmed the first death connected to these anti-government protests. Cubans are protesting necessities like lack of medicine, food, and lack of freedom. After 3 days of protests taking over the streets in Cuba, new video shows a quiet and calm Havana after an extensive government crackdown shutting down the internet and cutting off power, which is preventing the Cuban people from sharing videos and images of what is actually happening on the island. The Cuban government saying one person has died, over 100 protesters arrested, and some reportedly missing. One woman, an activist in Cardenas, about 90 miles east of Havana, tells us she likely would get arrested for speaking with us, but did so anyway. Leticia Ramos is calling on the international community to help. She says police came looking for a neighbor who took part in the protests. They broke the door, burst in, and started beating her husband on the floor. Despite the government trying to control what is happening on the island, we are still seeing new video of people being detained. And even more video shows police cruisers reversing away from a mob. 2 men were detained in Matanzas and remain in prison without being charged. A Catholic priest was beaten and released a day later, and a pastor in Santiago is still missing. The Catholic bishops in Cuba released a statement saying in part, "We won't reach a favorable solution with impositions, nor by calling for confrontations, but we can reach one by listening to each other and finding common ground." The State Department reacting, calling on the Cuban government to stop restricting internet access out of respect to the people.
Shutting down technology, shutting down information pathways, that does nothing to address the legitimate needs and aspirations of the Cuban people.
The State Department also saying it's willing to expedite any request to export supplies to the island. Meanwhile, Cuba's Foreign Minister Bruno Rodriguez spoke today on Cuban national television, accusing the U.S. of being behind the protest and said its actions could lead to an influx of Cuban migrants to America.